plus years, including Miss Bonnie Knight over here, who we first met when we were doing KFC demos when I worked at PETA way back in the day. So, yes, I've known a lot of these folks for a long time. Thank you all so much for coming out today. So we have one more fantastic presentation for you. This wonderful group is a local group. It's been around almost as long as we have, and we have a lot of similar causes that we there we go, that we fight for. This is the National Equal Justice Association, so I want to make sure and give them a big round of applause. And they have a great presentation on sustainable goals, so you guys are really going to enjoy this. This is great. And here's MJ. Thank you, dear.
Thank you so much, Christy, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you, Jack, for your help with the technical aspect of things. Hello, thank you, everyone, for being here and for taking the time to learn about National Equal Justice Association. We're going to discuss our Sustainable Recovery and Development campaign with biodiversity and how that relates to the fight for vegan eating and sustainable recovery, and how both of those movements align with one another. So my name is MJ. I am the Administrative Assistant for National Equal Justice Association.
My name's Adam. I'm a volunteer for the National Equal Justice Association.
NEJA is an all-volunteer 501c3 organization founded in 1981 to aid self-help, grassroots, community-based efforts. We accept no government or funding with strings attached. Our 41 years of experience working with grassroots, community-based organizations of farm and service workers and other low-paid workers in their struggle for nutritious food, clean and affordable water, healthy and safe living and working conditions, and other survival necessities have shown us that poor and minority communities are hit hardest by environmental degradation. Our fights for poor and minority communities are based on our founding documents, and NEJA's goals and principles are consistent with the 17 goals of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, known as the SDGs. In 2015, 193 member nations of the United Nations agreed to this agenda, and these goals include ending poverty, zero hunger, affordable and clean energy for all, and taking urgent action to combat the climate crisis. The SDGs are a program for people and the planet and prosperity. A plant-based, plant-forward vegan diet drastically reduces negative impacts on the environment. SDG goals number 6, clean water and sanitation. 12, responsible consumption and production. 13, urgent action on climate change. 14, life below water. And 15, life on land. Animal foods, especially beef, have a longer carbon footprint than beans or nuts. Additionally, fully 56% of the water in the Colorado River Basin in a typical year is used to grow livestock feed and water livestock, compared to only 13% of the water being used for grains and other crops. The U.S. was a signatory to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, but it has done nothing to implement the agenda. There is still no federal plan to implement the goals, and there's been a complete media blackout about the SDGs. Have any of you heard of the Sustainable Development Goals prior to? Exactly. There's been no campaign of publicity and education, nor has the government projected a programmatic approach to carry out the SDGs in the U.S. No government official has spoken up about the SDGs in public, so it's no surprise that most people don't even know about them. Yet the U.S., by nature of the size and global reach of our economy, has the greatest impact of any single nation on the outcome of these goals. But it has not been cooperating with the world community to build sustainable development. We rank dead last among G20 countries that have called for integration of the SDGs into their institutional and policy decisions. Meanwhile, the cornerstone of U.S. energy strategy since 2005 is based on hydraulic fracturing or fracking, and more recently, the production and export of LNG or liquefied natural gas, which utilizes even more energy and pollutes billions of gallons of water. Fracking releases massive amount of methane, a gas that warms the atmosphere at a rate 86 times that of carbon dioxide for 20 years after it's released. And you couple that with the factory farming industry, that's even more methane into the atmosphere and contributing to global warming. There are many more solutions than there are problems, especially when it comes to the climate crisis. The primary obstacle lies in the lack of commitment and prioritization to do what is needed to change the trajectory of global warming. There are two major courses of action for reversing the climate crisis. One is to build organization, to contact individuals and groups who see that we need to join together and organize to demand our local, county, regional, and state governmental leaders install the SDGs. NEJA's campaign for sustainable recovery and development is uniting poor and minority communities hit hardest by environmental degradation with environmental, business, scientific, religious, and other groupings to stop global warming through 100% renewable and doable energy and living wage jobs for all workers, including restoring our biodiversity. An Oxford University study released on 2018 by Joseph Poor stated that without meat and dairy consumption, global farmland use could be reduced by more than 75%, an area equivalent to the US, China, the European Union, and Australia combined, and still feed the world. A vegan diet is probably the single biggest way to reduce your impact on planet Earth. Not just greenhouse gases, but global acidification, eutrophication, land use, water use. It's more effective than cutting down on your flights or buying an electric car, as these only cut greenhouse gas emissions. A big part of what we're calling for is to implement the tactics and technology that clean the air and water and restore the land. Many organizations are doing the work of the SDGs, but are often working alone. No man, no organization is an island, and even though poor and minority communities are hit hardest by environmental degradation, they've not had the opportunity to participate or have agency in leadership in the environmental movement. We must unite these organizations together and to demand sustainable development as a nation, to restore our biodiversity while rebuilding our economy so low-income workers, small businesses, academics, and community members are not left behind. And that's how we got to know Christy at the San Francisco Veg Society, through expanding this campaign nationwide. And so finally, we need you to join us. Full and part-time volunteer organizers are needed now. Our campaign focuses on public speaking, telephone outreach, information tables, house meetings, conferences, poster canvases, and other forms of arm's-length person-to-person organizing necessary to battle the disinformation and misinformation being promulgated by the status quo and beneficiaries of it. NEJA also needs volunteers who can help with writing, editing, design, research for the NEJA Bulletin to publicize organizations fighting for solutions nationally. You can be part of building a nationwide movement to stop global warming and implement 100% renewable energy solutions with living wage jobs for sustainable recovery and development. Individuals can put up 5 posters of the Sustainable Development Goals. They can invite 5 people to our next climate change presentation, host a house meeting or a party regarding climate change and how the vegan movement fits into that. Invite friends, family, colleagues, anyone and everyone who's concerned, or subscribe to the NEJA Bulletin. Environmental organizations can promote their story in the NEJA Bulletin, publicize at conferences, speaking engagements, information tables, and other outreach. Invite a NEJA speaker to host a climate change event. Request sustainable development goals posters. Include the SDGs in your strategy. Whatever it may be, we need all of us to join together to demand the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals Time is running out, but there is time to turn things around, and we need all of us coming together. So Adam is going to pass around clipboards for anyone who's interested. Please put your name, address, and phone number, and one of our volunteers will reach out to you about how you can play a role as a volunteer, as a supporter, as an organizational or a business ally, whatever it may be. So thank you. I'm willing to entertain any questions. Go ahead.